Hello, Uggies Worldwide. I'm Dave Casler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. Now, the question today comes from Michael, who's KG0P, or Mike, I should say. He says, what would you recommend for a first-time oscilloscope? Whoa, it's sort of like asking, what brand of car should I buy as my first car? Well, people tend to be favorable one to the other and so on. You can get fairly inexpensive devices, $100, $150, that basically will put the scope screen on your PC so that you can just look at it there, okay? Or control the whole thing through the PC. You can also get smaller scopes about this big that aren't too expensive, in the $200 range or so. Now, if you want what I will call a real scope, okay, we're going to bump the price up to around $500. So buried under all of this over here is my oscilloscope. This is a Regal DS1054 Zulu, and I don't think this is still in production, but you can get later models. This is the kind of scope they build for students. It's about $500. Okay, it takes quite a while to warm up because it's a computer and it's got to go through all its checks, okay? These are the 4 inputs to the oscilloscope. There are many little menu items over here with push buttons, and they will change depending on what your page is on. We've got the triggering system over here. We've got the vertical and horizontal and so on. And one of the nice things about this scope is if you push this button, it will capture a screen print and put it on a USB drive, okay, which I've used lots of times. If you turn on the measurements, it'll measure everything under the sun. And it's a very handy oscilloscope. I've used it numerous times, but like I said, it is around $500 or more. Now, I've never used all 4 inputs. I have frequently used 2 inputs, occasionally 3. So you pay more for these extra inputs out here. By the way, this one up here on the top is a spectrum analyzer, also by Regal. Okay, I also have a Regal signal generator over here. So that's my test equipment. So you have to kind of consider what you're going to use it for. Is this a once in a blue moon just to see what something looks like? Or are you going to try and actually troubleshoot and see where a signal goes through a radio or something like that? I think my Regal that I have here would be overkill for a lot of hams. I like it. I really like it. It is their bottom of the line real oscilloscope. Okay, so you can look around. Now the problem is a lot of these little ones come from China, and there's, as does Regal, but they're an established brand with the presence in the United States. So it kind of depends what you want it for. A recent issue of QST, and I'm saying this in June of 2024, a recent issue of QST had a review of several scopes. So you can take a look at them and see what you think. So I had to raise quite a bit of money to put that down there. That was basically one of the very first things that I purchased with channel funds. So that was several years ago. So yeah, oscilloscopes are kind of interesting because they show you the interplay of what's going on, and they're very good for demonstrating things, as I have done many times in many videos. So there you go. Ask around, ask your friends, see what they think, see if they've got one of these little pocket thingies, or if they've got something that connects to the PC. Or now there's one thing I want to talk about, and that's bandwidth. The cheaper the scope, the lower the max frequency it will handle. Being as we're hams on HF, we would like it to be able to handle up to 30 megahertz, to handle all of HF, okay? But a lot of scopes, this is a 50 megahertz scope, you can pay more and get 100 megahertz, 200 megahertz, and so on. But if your little scope will only handle up to, say, 2 megahertz, it's not going to be much good to you in looking at waveforms at 28 megahertz or something like that. So I would recommend getting the bandwidth, which will push you into a nice scope like this Regal. So there you have it. And if you have any questions about it, if anybody has any questions, send an email to askdave@arrl.org, or you can send it to askdavearrl@gmail.com, and that'll come directly to me. So, until we next meet, happy measuring and 73.